Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to our channel today. This is Dan over at the Solify Group, and I'm so happy that you have chosen to view another video of ours. And I'd like to welcome you all, no matter where you're viewing from. And if this is your first time, the Solify Group has actually chosen to devote all of its programming to the spiritual awakening, finding our true purpose, and all the points in between, and living that purposeful life. I can't get it out. Living that purposeful life, of course, is much more than the spiritual awakening and healing and that type of thing. But this is what takes quite a bit of time, and also I like to explain what happens during that process. And so many of us know what to expect, and finding your true purpose, your destiny, and especially getting started on your journey, and not ours, but your journey. And so sometimes as we all awaken, sometimes there's, confusion. You're not sure where to go, what to do, what path to take up. And so that's why we love talking about the subject, and from time to time giving our testimonies. And, we can point you in the right direction. We do have printed material available as well for many, many subjects. Like the breathing techniques, divine awareness, mindfulness, changing all your habits, a lot of practical applications as well as spiritual. And just want to take time and let you all know that this is a safe space for you, whether you resonate as an atheist, agnostic, Christian, maybe you follow the Buddhist teaching, maybe you're a Muslim, Hindu, whatever you resonate with. We're not here during this video to change your central belief system. So don't be worried. It's a safe space. We're not here to pass judgment. We're not here to do any of that. We're just happy that you're here as a fellow human being, and searching for the truth, and learning how to navigate as we're spiritually awakening for a variety of reasons. And so the last video, which I believe will come out tomorrow, it's still in the editing process, we talked a lot about the characteristics of waking up, what the dark night of the soul is, what that shadow work entails, and which is very important, because when we're healing, we should never, and I don't think I mentioned this part, we should never really rush the time frame of our healing, because every person is different. So maybe you had a lot of wounds, and maybe betrayals and all that kind of thing. And maybe others haven't. So we shouldn't really compare ourselves and what our journey looks like to anyone else, because our journey is specific to us. And so I just wanted to bring that point out, that I hear people all the time wanting to just rush it, just get through the healing process, and they can, I guess the idea is to move on to bigger and better things. But there's nothing more important than healing properly, and sometimes that takes time. So never feel like God doesn't keep us on a stopwatch, right? So no matter what power you resonate with, whether that's God, Yahweh, universe, divine, whatever it is, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, whatever you resonate with. Many times we will use the term God, and that I'll leave that up to you to decipher, what creative power that you resonate with. And then, so just know that we're not trying to only mention one, but for the sake of the time length of each video, we want to, keep it moving. And just before we start to unpack this one, we want to just let you know, if you want to comment, we love to hear your comments. We love the conversation. And we want to, encourage you to like our videos if you do like them, and to subscribe. What subscribing does for you is it will give you the upcoming events, as we don't always just drop videos. Sometimes they're workshops, sometimes we give demonstrations, especially when we're talking about the type of food that's helpful to eat while we're healing. Sometimes some modalities to heal your physical body as well. And so anyway, I just encourage you to do that. If not, we're not one of those kind of channels that we're going to constantly be at you to like our videos and to subscribe. It does help us keep the material in front of the people, which is a good thing. And it also allows us, whatever revenue is generated by the channel, we do not keep any of that for ourselves. We put that back out into the physical community. And many programs that come up that we can actually institute, or we can help others accomplish. And so I just mentioned that so that you're aware that we're not sort of dunning you to like each video so that we can make more and more money. Obviously, that's what we like to do so that we can put it out into the greater community. And but anyway, we've spent enough time on all the introductory and housekeeping areas. We like you to know that we do have our own email, which is solify861@gmail.com. That's solify861@gmail.com. Just in case you want to have more of a private area, if you want to ask questions about your own personal healing or situations within your life or something like that. And feel free to use the YouTube, comment section as well. We love hearing from all of you. We do have folks standing by to read those, and I try to personally answer as many as we can. And if you'd like to request prayer too, you can do that through the sites. And with that in mind, we will unpack today's video. And as I was mentioning, the very last video that we did, which we produced and directed that just yesterday, it's still in the editing process, which it should drop probably tomorrow morning. And in that, we were discussing all kinds of, issues with the what to expect in the dark night of the soul, or some call it shadow work, or when you first awaken and we first discover, some areas of concern that we have. And as we move forward, we're going to be looking at how to, find that true purpose. Our very first video that we created was our premiere video on What If I Am the Answer, which goes into finding that true purpose and how we should proceed after we know what our purpose is. And almost always, God will give you parts of that will unfold. You probably won't know all of it when you first start, but I encourage you, get out there and do the thing, whatever it is. That purpose is going to be already interwoven into your soul, that non-physical part of yourself. I just want to just briefly mention that we're mostly made up of our soul, our non-physical self, and we do have a human body that surrounds our soul, right? While we're alive here on this earth, this planet, and so a lot of people get it kind of twisted that our bodies are the primary purpose, but actually that's not true. Our bodies are actually the smaller part of our total being, and our non-physical self, which is in here, sometimes we say the heart space, but we have a very vast soul, and our soul already knows what our true purpose is. It's already interwoven in there, and you'll start to find that they're calling for us to get that going. They're sort of begging us to look over here, look. So sometimes some problems, as we were mentioning yesterday, some I don't want to just say issues, but sort of as we unpack all the healing modalities and some of the things that can trigger and some of the things that come up, sometimes we tend to not want to do all of the healing, or we may fall back asleep spiritually. And again, I'm not talking about physical sleep. We're talking about how life happens, right? And it does to everyone. It happened to me. It happens to everyone. And we are working on my testimony to get that released. If it will help even one person, it's well worth it. Sometimes when we talk about our past and our testimony, what God has done for us, right? Sometimes we're very vulnerable, and so we're working with that. How can I say that venue in order to, release that, and we'll make sure that it's being released, so that if it does help you, I'm so blessed to know that, and if not, then you can move on. So today we want to talk a little bit about when we, the Lord really put in my spirit that, and showed me actually, that some people, some souls are out there becoming very discouraged with the healing process. And what you uncover, because in my case, I had pretty, what word do I want to use? Not horrific, but pretty, a life that's been a good life, but actually it was filled with betrayals, lots and lots and lots of wounds. Not feeling loved. I had a lot of just physical situations that happened, as well as many, many emotional and sort of like a roller coaster. But I can tell you that God never left me. My angels never left me. And had it not been for them and for my spirit team, I wouldn't be before you today. I wouldn't have, how can we say, pushed through, right? It was only due to my, to Spirit Source, universe, my beautiful angels, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ. And that's the reason I'm here before you today. And so I just want to let you know and let them know again how grateful, how utterly grateful I am that they never left my side, and they'll never leave your side either. So as you're experiencing difficulties, if you want to call yours that, or maybe you go up and down, it's a roller coaster, and you're just discouraged and you don't know which way to go. I just wanted to point you in the direction that I went, and maybe it's not your path, because each of us have our own journey. Each of us have our own belief system, and like I said, we're not here to change your belief system. However, there's some similar things that everyone will experience, and if we can sort of summarize some things that are, all of us have a soul, all of us are human at the same time, and all of us experience some of the same hurts and unwanted thoughts, feelings, and emotions, right? And many of us have the similar experience as we stay up in our head, and we have things circulating around in there that shouldn't be. And so hopefully today it's my hope that all of you can glean something from this video that will help you. It may not be the entire video. I'm not naive and think that the whole video, every video that I produce and direct is going to do that for you. But I hope it is a blessing to you. And, write us, let us know that something resonated with you. And we pray over each video, and I know that Spirit, Source, Universe guides those to it and puts it on the algorithm. And sometimes you'll see us produce shorts as well for YouTube, or rather for TikTok. And so anyway, with that in mind, with some of the healing, situations, sometimes when we really realize how many wounds that we've had, the travel path to heal, sometimes we get very discouraged. And, I just want you to know that it's all okay. You're not behind. You haven't been forgotten by God or your angels. They're right there with you. You're right there where you should be, okay? And even though sometimes we feel like it takes a long time, don't become discouraged. It's not a race. Like I said, God isn't here watching your stopwatch, your official stopwatch, okay? And you're not behind. They're not going to leave you. And this is why we should never compare where we are according to someone else, because it's your journey. It's your personalized journey, and you will get through it. And you're going to get through it in such a glorious manner that as you look back on your life and you look back on the healing process, you're going to be amazed. Just utterly amazed how far that you've come. But I wanted to give just some things that we all need to be aware of. So many times in this modern world, we have so many things vying for our attention, right? Social media is probably the number one thing that everyone talks about, but it's not the only thing. And so by beholding whatever we're beholding in our, not just our eyes so much, but in the eyes of our heart, this is what we're going to think about. This is what, and you've heard me as many of you that follow me have heard me say over and over, probably once in every video, that it really determines our six senses. We want to really be aware of what we're taking in. And so we're talking about, of course, the sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing, as well as our intuition is the sixth one. And so I'm going to just use social media out there as just an example. Sometimes we take in way too much stimulation. In other words, we're scrolling, and you're seeing and you're hearing all kinds of things that probably your heart should not take in, because we see that things are very varied. You can find just about every appetite of anything out there on social media. But, as for me and my experience, several years ago, I decided to actually delete what I call the matrix, and that is all the things that caused fear and doubt and worry and all these illusions, like the legacy media news, all the kinds of things that I do not resonate with, Now, when you first do that, if you're interested, I can send you some things, some pointers on how to effectively do that. But it took me some time, because then, as sort of you might realize, so as you say, okay, I'm deleting all this, I'm not going to look at it anymore, and then all of a sudden you find yourself scrolling again, or you find yourself, maybe if you're having an emotional negative time, then you start going back to what you did before, and sometimes we feel like, oh, I already healed that. Why am I doing that? That old part of me is gone. But until all the old person crumbles and you've got the new person, right, the new life, sometimes it still sort of bubbles back up again. And so don't be discouraged. Just keep at it. Let it go. Surrender. Don't be afraid to surrender, as we talked about yesterday. And there are many things. Sometimes it's people, places, and things that just can't come along with us on our new journey, right? And so we have to be aware of all that. But it's what we behold, what we take in, right? And so I wanted to call your attention to 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. It says, "But we all with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord." And so I want to remind you, and I know most people already know this and have figured it out, whatever you behold, whatever you pay attention to, whatever it is that you find mesmerizing, right? It might be, music videos, it might be movies, it might be, shorts on TikTok, it might be the news, the legacy news, right? It might be all these things. So whatever we behold, this is what is going to go in the heart. And as the scripture says, that man speaketh what's in his heart. So when you hear a lot of things come out of someone's mouth and that they talk about all the time, this is because their senses have taken all this thing in. And that's what's in here, okay? That's what, and sometimes that's the very thing that we have to heal. That's the very thing we have to let go of. I talk to guys all the time that have problems with something, that rhymes with corn, and so this has helped several of those guys. And, it's not only men, but women as well. We're seeing the trend. And so it's by what we behold, that's what we think about. So by beholding Jesus, we want to kind of talk about just for a second what that looks like. How can we behold something different than we're used to beholding, right? So we're called to behold Jesus above all else, right? Or God, source, spirit, universe. We miss out on what is important because we are not beholding what's important. So if you want your life to change, and I know we all do, we all talk about the manifestation part of the vibrational grid that we all have, that everything has, even dirt, grass, rocks, animals, trees, everything. And don't get me started on nature because I'll get sidetracked. And I love nature. But allowing the eyes of our heart, as I mentioned before, to be focused on Jesus, this is what we need. The eyes, in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 18, it says, the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that ye may know what is the hope of his calling. And over there in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, I think it is, it says, and we know all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called, what? According to his purpose. So you and I and God, or spirit, source, universe, whatever you resonate with, Yahweh maybe, our soul and that creative power already sat down and decided what this purpose was going to be, right? So that we were born into this world as a little bitty baby. And guess what happens? This world, being messed up as it is, trains everyone as babies to focus on what the environment is on the outside. And so we start as a toddler, we come through adolescence, and whatever is out here before us, we think that that is our reality. And actually, inside of here is what the reality is. And we're going to talk about this in that two-part workshop that we're going to do. It gets mirrored to the outside. So remember, we talked about whatever a man thinketh in his heart, that's what's going to come out of the mouth. That's what he's going to think about. That's what your senses already have. Guys, keep in mind that our sixth senses is like a giant sponge. Whatever you take in, whatever you hear people talk about, it might be jokes at work, it might be something on the internet you shouldn't be watching, right? It might be other things, and all of that, our minds and our heart is like a computer. Whatever it is in, that's what's going to come out, right? And so, Ephesians chapter 1 is trying to tell us the eyes of your heart is what's being enlightened. But we want a higher calling, don't we? We want to have that higher calling and have the right things that are coming out. We want to be able to understand what our true purpose is. And guys, let me give a disclaimer here, because many of you know that I go by the scriptures. That I quote the scriptures. I'm not saying all of you are going to have a purpose of ministry. You're not all going to have some kind of purpose that you feel like that you're, that that's what you're going to be doing. No. The purposes are so varied so varied. You might be an entrepreneur. You might be interested in makeup, clothing. You might be interested in music videos. You might be interested in having a bakery to talk to people and to raise this beautiful vibration within the collective. And I want to stop here just a moment and let you all know. I want, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much. Those light workers, the ones that are diligently every day hitting the path, whether it be healing, the people out there on platforms that are promoting, rising the collective's, vibration and frequency and magnetism. I want to thank you so very much, because I feel what's happening out there. I see it firsthand, and you're making such a huge difference. And if I could get around and congratulate each one of you in person, I definitely would. But I thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. And you're making a huge difference. And for those that are just figuring it out, they've just awakened, and their vibrations are on the upswing. Let's get out there and give them. Let's let our energy help them to rise even more. We see, we see the split. We see the new, the changes that are occurring out there. And so I just wanted to take time and thank each and every one of you. You're so important to me. And so beholding, whatever you're going to behold, is not just a casual observation. So how do we behold? Whether it's Jesus, whether it's spirit source, we all have that pure divine source within us, right? And as I opened with, our soul already knows what our divine purpose is. Our soul already knows what we're drawn to. But life has happened, right, to each one of us. It's not your fault. It's because we've been conditioned by the matrix. We've been conditioned by, if we do this and if we say that, and if we have these certain kinds of friends, then we can be like the world, right? But that's not always the way, our soul needs to go in, right? And so beholding is not just a casual observation from time to time. We have to really pay attention to what's being revealed. It's actually highlighting its significance, whatever you're beholding. So witness God's actions in the past, right, by all of the stories that are in the Holy Bible. We can, and all the miracles and all the future promises, we can see where He's led in the past. Guys, I want to tell you, human life has not changed from the time of creation, right? From the time of Adam and Eve. There's nothing new under the sun. Have you ever heard that adage? It's true. There's nothing new under the sun. People 2,000 years ago or 7,000 years ago were still doing some of the same things, making some of the same mistakes, living in the same way, although we didn't have all the modern conveniences that we have now, right? And many times I've thought to myself, what would they have done if they had the internet back then, right? And so it's something to actually kind of ponder sometimes. But we need to witness God's actions in the past, and we become changed into the likeness of whatever the things are that we behold, whether they're positive or whether they be negative. And we know that because when we first start to heal and we discover we have the wounds and we have, all those unwanted things like thoughts, feelings, emotions, we discover that, maybe our habits aren't what they should be. Maybe the things when our mind is in neutral, it starts ruminating all kinds of things, right? And you're kind of like, oh, wait a minute, why am I thinking about that? And we discover, and there's some videos back, if you want to look at the course catalog, and the one that goes through divine awareness, we actually go through the 13 modalities there of how to upgrade, make new boundaries. If someone is running all over your boundaries, you need to address that. If your habits are bad, let's address that. If you're triggered and all of a sudden a slew of negativity comes in, address what those triggers are. And we can actually sort of rewrite the program as to how we think and feel and those emotions. Don't let emotions rule your life. That's not why emotions are there, okay? And so Isaiah 43 in verse 19 is an extremely important verse here. It says, this is God speaking, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." And so here the Lord was actually addressing what he did for the children of Israel. But he's doing a new thing for us as well. Do you guys perceive what he's trying to do? As we start that healing process, it becomes very evident what God is trying to do in our life. No matter what your life looks like when you first awaken, it doesn't matter. We're all darkness and light, right? Sometimes when we first awaken, it seems like it's, 9/10 of it is darkness, right? But that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, because during that healing process, what happens is we're going to align, we're going to balance the light and the darkness, right? And this is where I wasn't going to mention this text, but in Matthew chapter 5:17, it says, "Ye are the light of the world. Can your candle shine if all you have is dark?" No one is going to see your light, right? And we're really going to get into that subject a little deeper when we start talking about the energetic grid, and we have to be balanced, okay? We have to be balanced, and there's a little bit like when you see a lamp on in a room, there is a shadow, right? Or the light wouldn't shine, because if you go outside when in the noonday sun and you try to turn a light on or you light a candle, you're not going to see the light because it's all light, right? And so again, there's a balancing of the darkness and the light. And so when we look at the past, look at the great work I've done. This is what the Lord is trying to tell us. He is a God of miracles. And I just wanted to briefly mention a couple of aspects about the children of Israel's wanderings in the wilderness. They didn't even get out of Egypt. They didn't even pass through the gate of Egypt before they were already complaining. They were already railing against God. They were rebelling. And as they got right before the crossing of the Red Sea, if you remember, they were already saying God brought them out there to kill them and to see that they perished and everything else. And so, what about us though? Because most people, when they first awaken, their minds are focused on the past. Okay, what happened? I woulda, shoulda, coulda done this. Look what he did to me. Look what she did to me. And all we can think about is all this negativity, all the, and even some people want to try to get even, want to take revenge, right? Well, this isn't the way forward. As a matter of fact, God has instructed us that we need to forgive one another. What's it say there in Matthew? If you forgive each other, then your Heavenly Father will forgive you before God, right? And so this is what releases us from all of that tragic, whatever's happened in the past. It could be betrayals, it could be wounds, it could be slights that people have done to us over time. It could be broken relationships, lots of those, right? Maybe it's our children. The relationship with our children isn't what it should be. It could be we can't keep a decent job, or we're homeless, or, we're coming from a war-torn area, and, we see that all over the world, right? Guys, we have to approach things differently. We need that, as you've heard me say many times, a revolution of the heart. And revolution of the heart does not mean war. It doesn't mean going and starting trouble with someone. It means that we need a revival in our hearts. We need a new way that we respond to society, to respond to the different actions that we need taken. We need to respond differently to each other, right? And so here God says, behold, I'm doing a new thing in you. Do you not perceive it? Well, so when we look at the past, do not become stuck in the past, because you're never going to be able to move forward. I can tell you that, oh my goodness. I'm not going to get off on my story today because, it's being documented, but don't stay stuck in the past, because all it's going to do is going to cause you a lot of heartache. It's going to cause you not to be able to move forward. And it's just going to cause more and more grief and more wounds, actually. And what we're trying to do is heal our wounds, right? We want to heal them. So when we're healing, sometimes we worry about all the obstacles, right, that we encountered in the past. And remember at the intro, I was talking about sometimes we look at the enormity of what we have to heal. I did anyway. And I'm telling you some of my mistakes, so hopefully you won't make the same mistake. And then I'm kind of like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do that, But I tried to look up all the people that I had interaction with that didn't turn out so well, and so that I could make it right with them. God convicted me that, this, and I'm not saying you have to do exactly as I did. And the ones that I couldn't get a hold of, in the Spirit, I forgave them and asked for forgiveness through the Spirit, and through faith and trust in my Creator and my God. And So many times we look at the travel path, and this is why I say periodically we need to stop, take a step back, and look behind us. Look where we've come from. And you're going to be totally, utterly amazed how God moves us along, right? And you're not going to be disappointed, I promise you. But He will bring you victory, even when it seems like victory will never be won. Even when you look back, and there were a lot of things from childhood that I suffered that I can't go back and fix it, or let someone else fix it with me. There are many. I shouldn't even be before you talking today, humanly speaking, with all the things that happened. And so He's going to bring you victory, even though all these things happen to you. And so in Revelation chapter 21, verse 5, it says, "Behold," there's the word again, "behold, I am making all things new." Does it say only part of them? No. He's going to make all things for you and you and you, and for me. He comforts us in the fear that has built up. He brings hope to the hopeless. He brings life and purpose out of what? Out of nothingness. Nothingness. There are many times I almost did a certain thing. And God stepped in. And I'm glad that I didn't. But He longs to transform your heart if you just give Him permission. Now, God is never going to run all over your free will. And I hear people all the time say, well, I'm not a Christian. I'm not this, I'm not that. God always gives man a choice. He gives you room to doubt if you want to doubt. He does. He gives you room to fear if you want to fear. But fear was not born of God. Fear was not born of spirit, of source, of your source that's in here, this divine source that is begging you to heal. And your life is going to be like amazing. And yes, we're going to talk about manifestations. We're going to talk about that vibrational, and it depends where you are in that. You don't have to be down below and in that dense feeling, in the anger, revenge, malice area of the scale. You can be up at the top where it's so light. You're going to find out the light feeling. I'm not talking about the color. I'm talking about how you feel. And you want to know, I'm going to give you another little hint on the workshop. You know why you feel lightness or the heaviness? Because you're not in alignment with your soul. You're not in alignment with your source. Everyone has that beautiful divine source within, that light. But you've covered it up over time. Wounds, betrayals, all the things, disappointments in life, right? And so you're going to discover how to quickly fix it. No, it doesn't take a lifetime. It takes, in some cases, a few minutes, right? And so He longs to transform our life. And so what does a transformed life look like? In 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 17, it says, "Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creation." He's a new creature, the King James Version says. But he's a new creation. "Old things are passed away. All things have become new." And so what does that mean exactly? And so as we heal, as we fix all the wounds, and the betrayals, and we have forgiveness in our heart, and we do what the Lord asks us to do, right? And He transforms us. We're actually going to have a brand new life. You're not going to even recognize who you are, right? I know for myself, I'm nothing. There's not even one inkling of my old life now, and I went to, reunions and everything else, and people don't, it's totally brand new, because the old life will crumble when you give your life to Jesus Christ, and all the old things are passed away, and you have a new life. What do we mean by a new life? We're still the same person. We still, I was about to say we still look the same, but not really, because we actually have a light in our eyes. We actually have a light in our face. We actually can see, that new life come to life, right? So when we embrace Jesus Christ through faith, that transformation, a radical change takes place. Our old desires aren't there anymore. The things that we used to desire, living by the flesh, right? Fleshly pleasures, we'll call them. And it doesn't mean just what you think it means. That's part of it. But also, worldly gain. You're out clamoring to be the biggest, the best, and there's nothing wrong with striving for excellence. There's nothing wrong with that. And in our new life, we will do that, but it's from a different motivation, right? We're going to have new motivations, new desires, right? A new taste for things. Our senses will sort of recreate themselves, right? And so a new heart, let's see, where is it? In Proverbs it says, I'll take away the heart of stone and I'll give you a heart of flesh, right? God actually performs that major surgery on us, right? So when we're transformed, we're going to have that heart of flesh, not the heart of stone, and then all the stuff that used to come out of our mouth, right? It's not going to come out of our mouth anymore. And we're going to have that divine awareness. We're going to have that mindfulness. We're going to have the aptitude to go in there and change all the bad habits. We're going to have the aptitude to change all the triggers that we once had. Aren't going to be there, because we're going to set new boundaries, right? And we're going to keep doing all the work that needs to be done, right? The healing that takes place. And what did John the Baptist see when he saw Christ first coming to him to be baptized, right? And what is it? John chapter 1, verse 29, it says, "Behold the Lamb of God, who taketh away the sin of the world." You see, God already said, God was not going to take away the fact that He gave His only Son to this cold, dark, cruel world. For who? For us. For you and for me. Not just for the people back in the biblical times, right, that we like to say, or that lived in the Holy Land, that lived in, Israel, Palestine, that area of the world. No, it was for us all the way down through the end of time, all the way. And did you know that Jesus would have paid that sacrifice, even if only you were the only one in the world? He would have still gone through what he went through. And so as we start to wrap up here, guys, it's nothing but encouraging. And I'm not here to tell you what to believe, what, denomination, if you're in a church, what, you should resonate with. No, that's up to you. That's up to you. That's your journey. That's not my journey. That's your journey. And each one of us has a different journey, right? And so I just want to briefly say that, we should, we should claim the blood of Jesus to cover us from head to toe. This is what redeems us. The victory has already been won. You don't have to languish out in the wilderness like the children of Israel did. It's already been done. It's already won and done, right? But we play around with the enemy. We allow the enemy to gain inroads to us through some of the things that we do, some of the actions we take, some of the actions that we refuse to heal. We refuse to look in the mirror and pour love into ourselves, right? And let me tell you, all those self-limiting beliefs, they're not true. You're believing a lie that someone told you long ago. Usually in childhood and adolescence, that happens. And they did the same thing to me. I was a very old adult before I could ever, figure out that, hey, they were lying to me. I don't have to live like that. That says, you're not smart enough, you're too fat, you're too thin. That's not for you. You're not intelligent enough. You're whatever it is that you were told, right? And then we believe it, and we go through life believing a lie, right? And all that's up in here in our head. Our head should be used for intellect, to figure the things out that you need to figure out when you discover that beautiful purpose, what that divine purpose is. Make the plans, right? This mind wasn't made to just think about who did me wrong. I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is. No, come out of that. Come out of that, people. And I love you as I'm saying this, because I dealt with the same thing. I understand what you're going through. I understand discouragement takes over, but it doesn't have to. You don't have to be discouraged. You can stop, reorient yourself, and let's go again. Let's go with the healing process. I'm here to help you if you need help, and there are many, many people in this collective that has experience as well that can help you. Reach out to who you feel, comfortable with, who you feel confident with, you see. And, this is how, and one of my, it's probably not the most favorite text in the Bible for me, but I refer to it over and over. It is a favorite, but I don't know that I have an all-time favorite. But Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, and here, it says, I have been crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me, and the life which I now live in the flesh, because we still have the meat suit, right? But the life I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. You see? So each day we should be crucified with Christ. But it's not us that lives, it's Christ living in us. So all the desires all the things that we look at on social media, all the stimulation we get in our minds, you know, even down to the food we eat. We'll make all kinds of adjustments to our habits, to our, to the way we live our life. That divine awareness that we have about ourselves. Look at yourself in the mirror. If you can only see even what Source sees in you, but not only that, if you could only see with whatever you resonate with, God, Yahweh, Spirit, Source, whatever it is, if you could only see the magnificence that they're seeing, you would never have 1 minute of discouragement. But until we sort of heal things and we discover that this out here is not our reality. No. Our reality is in here. And this is why you hear me talk about to develop your purpose, your destiny. And I promise you, you're going to love every second of it. Every second of it. No matter what it is, because it's already interwoven in your soul. It's in your DNA. Right? And so, I just want to encourage everybody. And, I'm not here to preach at you. And I hope I don't come across that way. I lived the same thing. I had to go through the same things. Yes, at times I was discouraged, but I knew because God developed something in me a long time ago as a little boy, and that was a very, very strong resilience, and that was never accept to get knocked down. If you get knocked off the horse, you will during this life many times, but get back up. Don't stay down. Develop, as we talked about in the last video, develop that very deep faith and trust in the divine, whoever that is to you, whether that's Spirit, Source, God, whatever you resonate with. And you're going to see that things are going to move along. Things are going to actually go probably faster than you think that they're going to go. And yes, sometimes we have to face certain things from our past in order to heal them. But God will be there with you every step. And don't ever forget this, that your victory has already been written, through the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made on the cross at Calvary. You don't have to play tiddlywinks with the enemy. You don't have to. So, stop giving your power away to the enemy, right? Because what does the enemy do? He's the one that accuses you before God. He's the one that says, see, this person right here, I can't believe you want them. But what does God do? He says, I'm going to make you strong in your weakness. You're going to take my strength upon your weakness, and you're going to become powerful. You're going to become strong. You're going to have that strength of faith and character that it takes, right? And so, I promise we're going to wrap it up here. But I get so, I'm not sure if it's excited is the word or passionate, but I get passionate in talking about, we don't have to stay in the condition that many of us are in. We don't have to. Our vibrations, we don't have to stay down here on the lower level of the scale that we're talking about, the vibrational scale. You don't have to feel heavy and out of sync. And the reason that heaviness is there is because you're out of alignment with your soul. Your soul is sort of, I don't want to say screaming at you, but they're kind of like, pay attention. Look, look what you can be doing instead of living this life like this, right? And so I just want to tell you guys, thank you for listening, and I love you so deeply, so very much, and you're all my brothers and sisters, and look, whatever I can do for you, please write to me, okay? If you don't need anything, then keep on showing that beautiful light and keep on that path, and you're going to come out much more victorious than you have ever dreamed of, because this is what the Creator does for us. This is what He wants to do for each one of us. And who knows what your purpose is going to be? You may be you may work in the White House. I don't know. You may be at the United Nations. You may be doing something, globally. I don't know. We don't know. Only you and your spirit team and God knows that. So start asking the questions. Start developing that spiritual practice. Prayer, meditation, especially journaling really, really helps. Ground yourself in the truth. And guys, I love you. And until the next video, this is Dan at the Soulify Group, and I love each and every one of you.